Life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. Sometimes those tests come quietly, hidden inside ordinary days. A plan fails, a dream slips away, relationship fades, and before we realize it, our heart starts to fill with heaviness. We begin to ask questions that don't have easy answers. Why do bad things happen to me? Why does peace feel so far away? Why does every small problem feel like a mountain? Most people think happiness comes from fixing their problems, but true peace, the kind that stays even when life shakes you, comes from changing the size of your heart. There once lived a young man named Ryan. He wasn't rich. He wasn't famous. He wasn't special in any way that the world would notice, but his heart carried a constant weight. He woke up each morning with the same thought: something's missing. His days were routine: work, eat, sleep, repeat. And yet, every night when he lay in bed, his mind whispered, "Is this all there is?" He envied people who seemed happy. He thought their lives were easier, their roads smoother, their luck better. He never realized that the difference wasn't their circumstances, it was their heart. One evening, after another long, colorless day, Ryan sat alone in a small cafe near his apartment. Rain tapped softly against the windows, the kind of rain that makes the world seem heavier. He stirred his coffee absently, staring at the ripples forming in the cup. At the next table, a few older men were laughing together. Their faces were lined with age, but their laughter was light. And in that moment, Ryan couldn't help but wonder how they could be so peaceful when life was so hard. One of them said something that caught his attention. "They say the old man who lives near the lake can ease a troubled heart." The others nodded, agreeing that talking to him had changed their lives. Ryan listened quietly, pretending not to care, but inside something stirred. For years he had carried his sadness like a secret burden. Now maybe there was someone who could tell him why he felt so lost. The next morning, Ryan decided to find the man by the lake. The walk was long, the air cool, and every step felt heavier than the last. But the quiet path through the trees gave him time to think about the weight he carried, about the anger he felt toward life, and about the small hope that maybe someone could finally help him understand it. When he reached the lake, the sun was setting over the water, turning it gold. Sitting by the edge was an old man feeding birds, his movements calm and slow, like time itself had softened around him. Ryan stood there for a moment, then spoke softly. "Sir, I feel like my life is full of pain. Every small thing breaks me. I don't know how to be happy anymore." The old man listened quietly, his eyes kind but unreadable. He didn't offer comfort or advice or even words. Instead, he stood up slowly, walked toward a small hut nearby, and came back holding two things: a small bowl of salt and a glass of clear water. He handed the salt to Ryan. "Take a handful," he said. Ryan obeyed. "Now put it in the glass," the old man continued. The young man stirred the water and took a sip. It tasted terrible, sharp and bitter. The old man watched him and asked, "How does it taste?" Ryan frowned. "It's bitter," the old man nodded. Then he said, "Now come with me." They walked together to the lake, the water stretching wide and still. The old man said, "Now take the same amount of salt and throw it in." Ryan did. "Now taste the water again," said the old man. Ryan bent down, cupped his hands, and took a sip. This time the water tasted fresh. He looked surprised. "It doesn't taste salty at all," the old man smiled. "The salt is the same," he said, "but the glass is small and the lake is vast. The bitterness hasn't disappeared. It just has more space to dissolve." Ryan stood there in silence. He understood what the man was saying. The old man continued gently. "Pain, disappointment, loss. These are the salt of life. You cannot avoid them. They will always come. But how bitter your life feels depends on how big your heart is. If your heart is small, every bit of pain will make your world taste bitter. But if you make your heart like this lake, even great pain will lose its power." The wind rippled through the water as Ryan stared into it. For the first time in years, he felt something shift inside him. It wasn't joy, not yet, but it was understanding. A quiet realization that peace was never about removing problems. It was about growing bigger than them. He walked home that evening with lighter steps. The same problem still waited for him. He still didn't have a job. He still had worries, debts, and fears. But his heart felt bitter. Over the next few days, Ryan began to practice what he had learned. When something went wrong, he would close his eyes and whisper, "Add more water." When life felt unfair, he would imagine the lake vast and calm, swallowing every grain of bitterness, and slowly, the world began to change. Not because it became easier, but because he became stronger. He started waking up earlier, taking walks by the sunrise. He smiled at strangers. He helped his neighbors without expecting anything in return. He stopped comparing his life to others and began counting his blessings one by one. The roof above him, the food on his plate, the warmth in his mother's voice when she called, the laughter of children outside his window, the peace of watching the rain fall without wishing it away. It wasn't a dramatic transformation. It was quiet, steady, like a seed growing underground before it blooms. Months later, Ryan returned to the lake. The old man was gone, but the water still shimmered under the sunlight. He sat by the edge and picked up a handful of sand. It slipped through his fingers slowly, carried away by the breeze. He smiled to himself and whispered, "Now I understand." He realized that gratitude doesn't erase pain, it transforms it. It doesn't stop the rain, it teaches you to dance in it. It doesn't make life perfect, it makes it peaceful. And peace, he finally understood, isn't something you wait for. It's something you grow. Every time you forgive, every time you let go, every time you say thank you, even when it hurts. He looked at the lake one last time, his reflection shimmering in the ripples. For the first time, he didn't see a man broken by life. He saw a man rebuilt by it. He had finally learned that the size of your heart determines the quality of your life. Because when your heart is small, even the smallest stone creates waves. But when your heart is vast, no storm can sink you. So if you're listening to this, maybe you've been drinking from a glass that's too small. Maybe you've been holding your pain so tightly that it's all you can taste. But you can choose right now to grow your heart bigger. You can choose to stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, what is this teaching me? Because the truth is, life will always give you salt. You can't avoid it. But how it tastes depends on you. Every challenge you face can make you bitter or better. Every loss can shrink your heart or expand it. Every failure can destroy you or deepen your peace. And gratitude is what turns pain into wisdom, wounds into lessons, and ordinary days into blessings. So the next time life feels heavy, remember Ryan's lesson by the lake. Don't curse the salt, just add more water. Don't shrink your heart, make it bigger. And when bitterness knocks, answer it with gratitude. Because the more you grow your heart, the less space pain will have to stay. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that life was never trying to break you. It was teaching you to expand, to rise, and to carry peace wherever you go.